to eat.
I'm DeAndre, and this is Elizabeth. She can't talk, she's mute. No, I'm just kidding. Say hi, Elizabeth.
Hello.
Hi. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making tostadas. Some people call them taco salads, some people call them tostadas. Elizabeth is going to be helping me out, and we're going to get started right now. We are ready. We're ready to go here. First of all, we're going to start out with meat that we've already prepared. This is ground turkey. We have 6 pounds of ground turkey in this huge skillet here. And one of the most important aspects of the tostada is each layer of goodness that's inside of the prepared tostada or taco salad has to have its own, I think, taste to it. So I'm going to walk you through the meat. I'm going to get the beans ready for you. I'm going to show you how to fry the shells, and I'm going to talk about how important the rice is. We're going to be doing some rice with this taco salad. So the first thing I'm going to do with the meat is we already have, like I said, about 6 pounds of ground turkey here. And this ground turkey is so wonderful and lean. It's good for you. It's light in fat, and we don't want to be sick with the dangers of fat. We're going to take 2 to 3 tablespoons of cumin, and we're going to add that to our meat. Sprinkle that in there. Okay, and then we're also going to add 1 tablespoon of wet garlic, and I eye it in there. And we're going to add some seasoning salt. Get a little seasoning salt in there. And we're going to add 3 to 4 tablespoons of parsley to give it a little bit of color. I'm adding that in there. I measure it all out before I dump it in. And we're going to be adding some garlic salt as well, just a little bit. Only about a tablespoon. And then we're going to add secret, you can't tell nobody this. Nobody must know this. No, I'm just kidding. We're going to add about a cap of lemon juice in there. And what that does is it really kind of perks up that meat and gets it to the point where when you're eating into the beans and the rice, you're going to definitely notice the flavor and the texture of each individual ingredient. And the last thing we need to do in order to simmer this meat is we're going to add about 1.5 cups of water. And as this simmers, you would definitely add more water, because I let this simmer for about 25 to 30 minutes. I mean, I really want the flavor of my seasonings to cook into the meat, because I don't want the dry, sort of restaurant kind of fast food taco tasting meat. I want this meat to have enough flavor in it to where you don't have to eat that much of it and it fills you out. So I'm going to add a little bit more water while you're looking at me. So I'm saying about 2 cups of water to 6 pounds of ground delicious turkey. One of the things that I didn't add yet, because I was going to wait until we get it simmering, and it's going to simmer because my flame is really high right now, and then of course I'll turn it down once I get all of that stuff in there, is I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of what we call cilantro. And cilantro is really tasty, and it's about 2 tablespoons of that in the meat itself. Some people don't put it in the meat, they put it in the beans. I put it in both. And I'm waking this up. Look at the color of that. Look at that. It doesn't look dry at all. I'm going to also add a little bit of margarine, or some people use butter, some people use olive oil, but I want it to have sort of a feeling of like ease when you eat it. It's kind of like, oh, it kind of melts in your mouth. It's like really tasty. So we're gonna get this simmered, and I'm gonna start on the beans. Hi. Okay. Also beans. Okay, we've done the meat. Now the beans. That was the hand of Elizabeth handing us the onions. Okay, so I'm gonna put about 3 tablespoons margarine or spread. It's not butter because I don't want it to be too fattening. I want this to work for us. I want to put about 2 or 3 tablespoons or maybe a 1/4 cup of onions in there. White onion or yellow onion, it doesn't matter. I'm going to put about, I'd say maybe 5 tablespoons or so of lemon juice. It's so tasty. I'm prepping, I call this the groundwork for the beans. Like, this is what's going to keep the beans from being boring and flat. I'm putting a little bit of parsley in there, maybe a tablespoon or so. But the main secret ingredient for preparing these pinto beans that are going to go on our taco salad or tostada is going to be the cilantro. And I just loaded up with cilantro. I'm talking like 1/2 cup of cilantro goes into these beans. And the flavor and the texture of the beans, you will notice that when you bite down into the food and the goodness of this tostada. I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil, and I am going to tablespoon of seasoning salt, and I'm going to do a tablespoon of garlic salt, and then I'm going to do a little bit of parsley, a little bit of parsley, maybe a tablespoon of parsley. And then I'm going to do a tablespoon of pepper. And all these recipes will be on the Talking Shit website, but we're creating a page for It's Time to Eat on that site. So you can just go to www.talkingshit.org and you will see these recipes. Remember, we did the bean and the rice and the chicken, and today, of course, we're doing the tostadas and or taco salads. Here they are, they're simmering, and they are done. The beans are done, so I'm going to turn those off. We want it to be 300, and we don't want to touch the bottom of the skillet. We want to put it right in the middle and on the edges and check it. And we're at about 269, 270. I'm checking it. It's climbing. It's going higher. I'm not going to let her put this shell in here until it's at 300. That is the best results. You want it to, and this is canola oil. This is like, we don't want a lot of cholesterol. And what I'm saying is that I don't want the shell to take on so much oil that it grosses you out and makes you want to, regurgitate. So by having it as hot or as high as possible, keeps us from having to cook the shell so long so it doesn't take on so much oil. All right, here we go. And the oil is just warm enough to get it going. It's hot, so we have to be careful. As you can see, Liz is wearing a mitt, and she doesn't want to get burnt. I mean, we're talking about a 3rd degree burns here. And you can hear the shell. Also making sure that the shell doesn't have any water on it, because if that grease, you know how water in this hot grease acts, it's very, very dramatic, and we don't want that. We want to make sure that this is a safe cooking environment. Okay, the shell is ready and it's taking shape. It's very warm. We're using a ladle here to kind of, shape the shell as well as keep oil on all sides of it as it's cooking. And you've seen these in restaurants, and some of the restaurants have a basket or different other devices. We use the old-fashioned ladle technique because it gives us an opportunity to really have our own shape, and each shell comes out totally different, and it's really kind of unique. Okay, look at this shell. That's a perfect shell. Can I get a close-up on this? I mean, that's a perfect shell for tostadas. Look at that. The crispiness, turn it over, Liz, so you can see how it's primarily dry. It's a little shiny there, but there's not this after cook oil going. And we're gonna store this in the oven. I've already warmed turn it up so it'll drain out. Oh. You can stack them better, see? So that's how you're gonna store those. And I already turned the oven on for like an hour at 200. And now that the shells are actually being cooked, go ahead, Liz, we can turn the oven off. Look at me dancing next to her. Hey, guess what? Everything is ready. Let me show you. Step back, please, almighty queen of frying. I'm about to take, look at all these shells. Taking one of the beautiful shells out, putting one of the beautiful shells here. What I try to do when I'm serving these is I want to get the hot stuff in first, and I want to make sure that the cheese is going to melt. Everything else is all circumstantial. So we take 1 spoon of this savory, well, 2 spoons of this savory tacos, well, 3 spoons of this savory ground turkey. And then we come over and we get a spoonful of these beans. And we put them on here. Look at this. And then of course the cheese first. You want the cheese to melt. And then what I try to do when I serve mine is I want to put that rice right on top of that cheese. So that cheese is going to melt. And then I add a little bit more color. Actually, I put the tomatoes first so people can see the difference between the tomato and the white onions. I think these are yellow onions, I'm not sure. And then there's going to be some sour cream. We're going to have some salsa. And my favorite part of this, that was Elizabeth, she's great, is I'm going to put this in my mouth. Watch this. Oh my God, let me see. Oh, look at the cheese, look at the flavor, look at the color. Look at the festival part, look, it's like festive. Now, another thing that I almost forgot is the little, some people consider this lettuce, but it's kind of like a garnish. It's kind of like it's like a celebration. You know, the color, the texture of the salad, and the lettuce with that. Look at that. Watch this. I'm gonna put this in my mouth. I'm speechless. It's delicious. And that's all the time we have for this edition of It's Time to Eat.